What if the very things you criticize about yourself are actually signals of hidden intelligence? What if the habits you call flaws are evidence that your brain is operating on a deeper frequency? Stay with me, because these 10 subtle signs don't look impressive on the surface, but sign number 10, that one quietly links some of the most brilliant minds in history. Let's begin. 1. You talk to yourself. Strange, right? At least that's what most people think. But research from University of Wisconsin suggests that verbalizing your thoughts actually accelerates information processing and improves memory retention. When you speak your reasoning out loud, you're not being odd. You're structuring thought. You're guiding your brain step by step through complexity. It's cognitive self-coaching. And yes, Albert Einstein was known to do exactly that. So the next time you catch yourself whispering through a problem, pause. That might not be weakness. It might be precision thinking in motion. And this next sign? It's often misunderstood completely. 2. You overthink everything. You replay conversations in your head. You dissect decisions long after they're made. You imagine 5, 10, 50 possible outcomes. Most people label that as anxiety, but neuroscientists call it something else: metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. It's a higher-order cognitive process, a mind observing itself in real time. That internal analysis isn't chaos. It's layered awareness. And here's the tension. The same mechanism that sharpens your judgment can also exhaust you. But don't confuse depth with dysfunction, because sign number 3 flips another common assumption. 3. You get bored easily. Repetitive routines drain you. Simple tasks feel unbearable. It's easy to assume that means laziness. It doesn't. Highly intelligent brains often have a more active reward prediction system. They release less dopamine for predictable outcomes. In other words, your brain adapts fast. What excites others quickly becomes neutral for you. So it searches. It scans for novelty, for complexity, for something worthy of its bandwidth. But that constant hunger for stimulation comes with a cost. Let's talk about doubt. 4. You question yourself constantly. You hesitate before calling yourself capable. You second-guess your conclusions. You notice gaps in your knowledge immediately. You've probably heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect. It describes how people with low competence tend to overestimate their ability. The paradox? The more someone truly understands, the more aware they become of what they don't know. Intelligence expands perception, including perception of uncertainty. So if you often feel unsure, it may not be insecurity. It may be cognitive humility. And that humility is rare. But here's something even more surprising. 5. You stay up late. While the world slows down, your mind becomes active. Research from the London School of Economics found a correlation between night-oriented individuals and higher intelligence scores. Why would that be? Because when distractions disappear, your brain finally has space to wander. And wandering isn't laziness. It's incubation. Many creative insights surface when external noise fades and internal exploration begins. But speaking of noise, the next sign is physical. 6. You're sensitive to sound. A ticking clock, someone breathing too loudly, a faint hum in the background that no one else even registers. And suddenly, you can't focus. This isn't fragility. It's heightened sensory processing. Your brain absorbs more environmental data than average, more signals, more micro-patterns. That heightened intake can accelerate pattern recognition, but it can also overwhelm the system. More input means more filtering, and filtering requires energy. Which leads us to something that looks like a flaw, but might not be. 7. You procrastinate. You delay tasks. You wait until pressure builds. On the surface, it seems irresponsible, but psychologists at the University of Calgary found that many high IQ individuals engage in something called active procrastination. Your brain resists meaningless busy work. It rejects low-stimulation effort. So instead of moving immediately, it subconsciously incubates the problem. Processing continues in the background. Then suddenly, clarity arrives, and the work gets done faster than expected. But here's the twist. Not all procrastination is productive. The difference? Intentional delay versus avoidance. And that distinction separates scattered minds from strategic ones. Now, we're only halfway, because the remaining signs become even less obvious. And number 10? That one changes how you see yourself completely. It doesn't move for everything. It waits. Your mind holds back its full power until something actually matters. And that's why, under pressure, when the clock is ticking, you suddenly become sharp, focused, decisive, almost unstoppable. You don't thrive in constant urgency. You ignite when the stakes are real. And that brings us to something even subtler. 8. You remember details no one else does. A specific date from years ago. A passing sentence someone barely noticed. An obscure fact from a documentary you watched once. It stays. Meanwhile, you might forget where you left your keys this morning. That contradiction isn't random. It's working memory at play, selectively encoding information that feels meaningful, novel, or pattern relevant. Your brain doesn't store everything equally. It prioritizes signal over noise. That's why you can quote a 2008 film effortlessly, but struggle with trivial logistics. It's not inconsistency, it's filtration. And the next sign? Most people get this one completely wrong. 9. You feel emotions intensely. This surprises people, because intelligence is often portrayed as cold, detached, purely logical. But depth of feeling is not the opposite of intellect. It's often evidence of it. When you sense subtle emotional shifts, when you pick up on unspoken tension, when someone's mood changes and you feel it before they say a word, that isn't weakness. That's neural sophistication. Empathy requires complex processing. It demands perspective-taking, pattern recognition, emotional regulation. Truly intelligent minds don't just analyze the world, they absorb it. And sometimes, that absorption is heavy. But now we arrive at the final sign, the one that quietly connects history's sharpest thinkers. 10. You never stop learning. This is the ultimate marker. Across generations, across disciplines, the most brilliant individuals shared one trait: relentless curiosity. They read beyond necessity. They questioned assumptions. They searched for better answers even when their current ones were sufficient. Intelligence isn't static. It evolves. And if you're here, watching this, trying to understand your own mind more clearly, pause for a second. That behavior alone signals something powerful. Curiosity about yourself is one of the highest forms of cognition. And here's the twist most people miss. The smartest individuals rarely walk around thinking, "I'm intelligent." They think, "There's more to learn." The real takeaway. Being intelligent isn't about grades. It's not about test scores. And it's definitely not about solving equations faster than everyone else. It's about awareness, adaptability, depth, the capacity to reflect on your own thinking and refine it. So the next time someone says you're too sensitive, too quiet, too lost in thought, just smile. Because what they're labeling as different may simply be cognition operating at a higher resolution. And if something in this video resonated with you, if it shifted how you see yourself, stay curious, because that's where real intelligence lives. And if you want to keep exploring it with me, subscribe. The next insight might challenge you even more.